Well, I want to start off by saying I like this assignment. It was hard, but it was the video part that was hard. So those of you that got it on the first try, you get an A. Like I said, it was a good assignment because it wasn't even a good assignment. It was a great assignment. It's a great assignment because it caused us to reflect. And I think we're going to be doing a lot of that. It causes us to look ahead at being professionals. And in doing so, I think what we're doing in this assignment is that we're looking where we are now as people. And I think that's kind of ironic because, after all, that's what we're going to be doing as social workers, working with people. In regard to where I stand with what I feel or what I think may be a challenge or a concern in helping others, I kind of want to comment on what Jennifer said because I think she's onto something. I too want to be the best at what I can be, which I think everybody wants to be. We've spent money and time and we've invested in ourselves and in this profession. But in order to avoid this perfectionism, which is not where I'm going, I think we all want to strive to do this great job, but we need to be conscious and work within our limits. I think that's imperative. That's my put. I want to comment on that. Now for my 4 out of the 16, which these are heavy hitters for me. Actually, all 16 are heavy hitters, but these 4 are truly heavy hitters. I put mine in an order. I put the dealing with people who lack commitment, and I put this as a number 1 thing for me because I just recently ended a commitment. It's a professional commitment with an organization called CASA. For those of you that are not familiar with this group, CASA is a court-appointed special advocate. I was reminded when I ended my commitment with CASA about the amount of cases that I had dealt with mandated therapy, and moving into the professional realm of being a social worker, this will be a hurdle for me personally. I know this will. My approach will have to be one of just honesty, because working with mandated clients versus voluntary clients is like night and day. At least that was my experience. I also found that when I was working with mandated clients and addressing their feelings from the word go and keeping that framework as simple as possible, that just seemed to be the way to go. Perhaps if I keep that in mind, that will serve me again, but that didn't work all the time. So that made me question if what I was doing sometimes actually was working. So that lack of commitment often led me to wonder if whether it was working or whether what I was doing was effective. So that leads me into tolerating ambiguity. And I guess the best way to go about that is to look into sessions as pieces of pictures and know up front that there's always going to be, in every client therapist relationship, there's always going to be that percentage of, I guess, what you would call uncertainty. So you're going to have a risk and you're going to have an adaptability, and know that that is going to be able to be met with either a type of assessment or an intervention or some type of an evaluation, and you're going to have to do that on both sides of the fence. So either you're going to have to evaluate yourself or what's going on as far as what you're doing as far as an intervention, and it needs to be done early on, and question the effectiveness of these sessions to see if it's working. And if it's not, perhaps it's not, this is never going to work, and that's okay. And you need to own that and say, and keep within those code of ethics and say, let me hand you off to one of my colleagues, or whatever the case may be. Don't take that personally, because not every client is meant for that therapist, and vice versa. My third one is understanding silence. I picked that because of my internship. I have a relative example. For everybody, we are going to all have some very rich moments that we will be able to celebrate with our clients. We also will have some unbelievably scary and moving moments that we will celebrate with our clients. And my internship is at Guardian Angel, which works with domestic violence and sexually abused women. So there will be times that the social worker in me will want to know, obviously, what these women are feeling. And the clients, these women, are going to be struggling, that's an understatement, for words with how they are feeling, and simply just not know how to tell me, or what to say, or what words to use. And I have to respect that silence is part of that conversation. That is part of the process. This is an example, but certainly not the same situation. My son, who now is 22, when he was very young, he had a very difficult time explaining what he was feeling, but you could, without a doubt, see that he was wrought with emotion. His face would become very, very red. His fists would become clenched. His teeth, he would grit his teeth. And without a doubt, he would shut down and become silent with no words, unable to process that emotion. And the mother in me knew to trust that silence. So there will be times that we need to understand that silence is very much needed. And ironically, I'll go on that mothering thing because that's going to be my last one, which is declining to give advice. This is going to be hard because at 49, I'm going to be 50 this year. I am going to have a rough time learning not to mother my clients. I'm going to have to respect that whether they ask me for advice or not. I know that there is a system in place and I need to follow that. So I don't know that it's going to be a problem for me, but I just need to, with 4 children, and my children are adults, but they still very much come to me for, they come to me for advice. Many people come to me for advice, and it's a nice thing to have done, but I need to make sure that those lines are not blurred, that these people are coming for therapy, for counseling, and whatnot. And they're not there for advice. I'm there to help them with the tools for them to find their own way about things.